Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. I'm so excited to see you all here today for Thursday's reading, but of course, as always, my readings are timeless whether you watch it on the Thursday it comes out or not. And today's topic, as you can tell by the title down below, is a mystery reading. So this reading is just us reaching out to the universe, which could include your spirit guides, your spirit team, big spirit in general, or maybe even some ancestors, whoever wants to come forward today to talk to you about a message that they think that you need to know, or that you have like the right to know, or is important for you to hear right now. So this is just very open. We'll see what comes through. Could be career, relationships, family, could be, spiritual growth, personal growth. Those are generally the topics I see come out with our readings, but who knows? It could be about anything. So without further ado, let us pick our piles. For pile number 1, over here we have Celestial of Celestial, Immaculate Imperfection. For pile number 2 is we have Fire of Water, State Change. And for pile number 3 is on the right, we have Earth of Fire, Unfolding Path. So just to reiterate, for the timestamps, pile 1 is Celestial of Celestial, pile 2 is Fire of Water, and pile 3 is Earth of Fire. Feel free to meditate on these piles a little bit. If you need some more time to decide, you can pause on this part of the video. I always recommend just go with your first gut instinct, or if you'd like to, close your eyes a little bit, see what comes forward. You know, sometimes when I watch pick a card readings, it comes through as a number. Sometimes it's just I get a feeling when I look at a certain card. So that's my recommendation as to how to choose your pile today if you're having some struggles in that area, or maybe you're new to pick a card readings. But either way, whenever you've decided which pile you would like read for you today, down in the description box below and or the top pinned comment beneath the reading, the timestamps are there. Navigate down there, click on the timestamp for your reading, and I will see you in our discussion about, well, a mystery reading. We'll see what the universe wants to tell you today. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 1s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of, well, a mystery reading. We'll see what comes through for you from the universe in general. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Celestial of Celestial, Immaculate Imperfection. We have, it looks like the solar system here, the sun, probably Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and Pluto's over here. They remembered Pluto this time. I know NASA technically said no to Pluto anymore, but at least they remembered it in this particular deck. Poor Pluto always gets forgotten. So I'll put it over here next to the pine cone, which is what we usually do with our pile leaders. We have our oracle cards I already drew, and then I'm going to actually draw from 2 different decks today. So we have tarot, of course, because it's a tarot reading, but we also have Lenormand. So first, let's draw your tarot cards from the universe. We'll see what pops up. Oopsie, there we go. That was a poor shuffle at the end there. We'll try that one more time, pile number 1s. Okay, well, first time there was a pile that flopped towards the end, and then the second time there was a pile that flopped towards the beginning. We'll try that one more time. Okay, are we ready for, well, I mean, your pile today literally is about imperfection, right? But let's try for some perfection here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I guess the theme is imperfection today. Sometimes I have a struggle with this particular deck. Anyways, we shuffled it 3 times. It's good. So Spirit, Universe, for pile number 1s, could you give me about 5 different cards explaining more about what's this message you want pile number 1s to hear today collectively, please? Thank you. Around 5 cards, please, but of course I'll always take more within reason. Sometimes you shuffle and like the whole deck comes out. Number 2. 3, I'm feeling that one back there. 4 and 5. Beautiful. And then we have Lenormand today. So we're going to draw 3 with Lenormand. So Spirit, Universe for pile number 1s for their highest best good. Could you explain more about the situation at hand tangibly with Lenormand, please? 3 cards. See, I shuffled the Lenormand pretty well, but this deck is a little bit easier for me to handle with my little tiny hands, so. Other readers out there who have small hands understand the struggle, right? That's why it's beneficial to have longer fingers when you're a tarot reader. Okay, so let's reveal everything. Let's do your oracle cards first, as is custom. So, course, we have your pile leader, Celestial of Celestial, but from the Nature's Whispers Oracle, we have number 33, Be Gentle with Yourself. Lots of yellow colors today. It makes me think of the solar plexus chakra, but we'll see what else pops out before I say anything conclusive. But solar plexus, confidence, right? Be gentle with yourself. And actually, we're going to shift this up here, put that one down here next to the pine cone. A little bit more. There we go. Then from the Dream Ritual Oracle today, you received Remember. Okay. Remember. Beautiful. Put that one up here next to the foliage. There we go. Then from the Lantern Oracle today, you received number 37, Transitions. And I'll read the text here because it might be a little bit hard to see on screen. You have all of the inner resources you need to cross whatever bridges arise on your path. Now, I believe this actually in my last reading that I used the Lantern Oracle. This one came up again. So if you watched that reading and you got this card and you got it again this time, I guess apparently maybe it's still a bit of a lesson lingering over, but... So transitions. You have the resources you need to cross whatever bridges arise on your path. Beautiful deck. Actually, it might be my favorite Oracle deck of all time, but at least so far. Okay, let's reveal your Lenormand cards today. So we received the Sun, the Shedding Snake, and the Fish. Let's see. So it's interesting because the shedding snake is often about like shedding a skin or change or rebirth, right? Which is interesting because you also have that kind of theme with transitions of making change. It's almost like death card, the death card in tarot. We'll see if you actually do get that with your tarot cards today. But if I were to read this in a sentence, basically it's about, let's see, a happy change in business or a happy change in... So the fish can sometimes mean like currency or like career. Happy change in career or currency. Could also mean finances, happy change in finances. We'll see what else pops out though. Maybe we'll get some Pentacles cards today with your tarot. That'll help us kind of determine the full theme of what's going on. There we go. Trying to make this nice and even, but remember your pile leader talks about imperfection, so I won't be a perfectionist today myself. Let's see, come on. Squish. All right, whatever, it's okay. So number 1, we have the... Okay, I was just saying, like, oh, maybe you'll get some Pentacles. So in this deck, the Pentacles are stones. You have the Page of Pentacles reversed, needing to maybe explore a bit more with the material world, maybe explore options for finances and career, things like that. We'll see what else pops out. Number 2, we have the King of Wands reversed. So the King of Wands reversed can manifest as like a lack of charisma or confidence in something. We'll see what else pops out with it. Third up, we have another reversal. We have the Empress reversed, needing to nurture something more, especially as the core card. Creativity sometimes is what it means as the feminine energy card. Let's see, we have the Knight of Cups reversed, or Vessels as it's known in this particular deck. So that's usually about taking action in the realm of emotions or needing to do that more, it being reversed. Lots of reversals today. And then last but not least, we have the Five of Pentacles, which is the card of either hardship or poverty. Sometimes it can mean like, even in this card, you kind of see like this little girl is playing in the mud and she's just kind of getting like mud everywhere. She's having a great time, but it's getting kind of messy. And then this guy has his tent here, but it seems like it's kind of leaking. I don't know what's the issue with the tent back there. Well, the kid in the back seems like he's doing fine. But in general, that's what the Five of Pentacles means. Or it can mean hardship in general. Sometimes it can mean also having issues with the establishment. Or the establishment having failed you in some way. Because, yeah. So let's see here. Pile number 1. So I'm going to take just a moment of silence here to put everything together. Gather some maybe intuitive messages coming through from your spirit team in the universe. And then I will... start the reading from there. So just for a quick pause for a drink and some reflection. Let's see here, pile number 1. So I think they're kind of, this reading almost kind of feels like a bit of a heads up reading, pile number ones. A little bit of, I don't want to say a warning reading, because if I say warning, that might instigate a little bit of fear in you, and I don't want to do that. It's not necessarily a warning, it's just kind of a heads up, like your spirit team or the universe is kind of saying to you, if you continue on a certain path, you might find out later that you wished you would have taken another path, is kind of how I see it. So what's really going on with this pile number ones? Well, first I'm drawn to, of course, the Lenormand. And Lenormand is very good about blunt answers and about tangibility. It's a very earthy type system for cartomancy predictions and stuff like that. And your Lenormand today is the sun, the shifting or the shedding snake, right? And the fish. The sun is either about, it's kind of like what it is in tarot, clarity or joy, happiness, right? The shedding snake is about letting go of things, renewal, change, right? And then we also have the fish, which is about exchange or currency, kind of harkening back to the time when we didn't really have metal coins that we exchanged for things or credit currencies. We usually traded goods like fish, like, hey, I'll give you 3 fish for 3 apples or whatever, probably maybe a little bit more than that, but you get to the gist, right? And so translating that all in a sentence is kind of how Lenormand works. So if I were to translate it into a sentence, I would say a happy change in business or career or finances. So what the universe wants to say to you, pile number ones, connecting it back to what I was saying is maybe a little bit of a heads up here, is I think if you keep going on your current path with something related to your finances or your career or business here, if you have a business, they're saying that maybe a change would be a better idea than to keep going on the path you're going on. Because not only do you have that shedding snake, which is a good time for things anew, change, renewal, right? You also have transitions here from the Lantern Oracle. And that particular deck is really, really good about lessons or like telling you what's the issue at hand. Or sometimes it kind of has an encouraging message. So I'll just read that again. And it says, you have all the inner resources you need to cross whatever bridges arise on your path. Transitions. So you're being encouraged towards, sorry as I adjust in my chair if you hear any squeaky noises, you're being encouraged towards at least entertaining the idea of change, pile number ones, because what they're saying is that change not only would correct a lot of these reversals here, which we'll talk about that in a second, but it also will bring you to some place where there would be like a renewal in terms of career or finances here because of that snake next to the fish. Happiness, right? It would bring you to someplace better. Now, getting down to the nitty-gritty of what that change is. Some of you, it might be changing your job if you're currently unhappy with where you're at. Some of you, it might be changing careers entirely if you're not really happy with what you're doing or like the type of work that you're doing. Some of you, it might be as minute as changing just a small little thing in the way that you do your day-to-day work, or say you own a business and you have a little bit more control over the environment and the choices going forward. A little bit of a tweak might be needed. And so you're probably asking, okay, so what's the change needed? What's the tweak? Well, let's see, where do I start with that? Well, number one, you have a piece of advice of be gentle with yourself, pile number ones. I think maybe that's why that came up, as well as your Immaculate Imperfection card here that you picked your pile with. Is basically what that card means is there's a lot of beauty in the universe in general, in realizing that nothing is perfect and nothing is symmetrical. And especially with that being next to be gentle with yourself, it's almost telling me maybe you're a bit of a perfectionist, and maybe you're a perfectionist to the point of being too hard on yourself. And so that could be one change that is being requested or at least advised to you from the universe in terms of business, career, finances, however that specifically applies to you. And yeah, being gentler with yourself, being not so much of a perfectionist, because sometimes that can cause a little bit too much mental stress, which can make you, maybe perform worse, or maybe you second guess yourself too much, or maybe, sometimes when it comes to projects at work or general trajectory of how you do your job, when we focus on perfection so much, it becomes less about getting the thing done and making sure everything is done right. Of course, you don't want to cut corners, pile number ones, but sometimes we're just given a bad deal in which we don't have the time to make everything perfect. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just to get the minimum. I hate using corpo speak, but for those of you who have worked in a corporate office, you know what this is. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just get the minimum viable product, is what they call it in the business world, out the door, and then fix things later. Even though I know that's really difficult, because I'm a perfectionist myself. I've had the same problem when I worked in the 9-to-5 office world in the past. Yeah, sometimes though you just have to let things be imperfect just so you can get them out there and get things done on time. So that's one realm of suggestion here for the change that might make you, more successful and happy in business, right? Or your job, finances, career, etc. There's also aspects here of, because you have a lot of reversals and you have a lot of court card reversals, all right? And so you have, you have a page, you have a king, and you have a knight. The Page of Pentacles reversed is about needing to explore a bit more in the material world, and how that tangibly manifests is, say, trying new things at work, trying different methods of things at work, especially because pentacles are very associated with the material world, so like your job and finances and things like that. That's why sometimes it's even called the coin suit. And so that could be an encouragement, like I said, number one, moving away from the idea of I need everything to be perfect and then nothing gets done, right? It can also mean even trying new ventures within your job. Like, let's say a potential opening pops open in another department, and maybe you're a little bit reluctant there, especially with that King of Wands reversed here, is that's the card of a lack of confidence on, like, externally manifesting, or a lack of, fire not externally manifesting. And so they're saying, maybe consider exploring more around in your career. So let's say if that job opening does open up in another department, actually consider it instead of staying on the straight and narrow path that you have been, things like that. Also look for changes in regards with creativity and nurturing. So that number one can be about focus on self-care a little bit more. Don't be so hard on yourself, especially with be gentle with yourself. That can be one interpretation of the Empress reversed. It can also mean allowing yourself a place where you can be more creative, where you can nurture yourself more. So some of you, that might even extend to the point of maybe considering a different job if where you're at right now is not serving you in that area. Okay. And that too, there's a little bit of a stifling of emotions here with the Knight of Cups reversed. It's a lack of taking action on our feelings. So what that basically means is, say you're really frustrated at work because there's something that keeps, maybe like you have a manager who is putting too much work on you. Maybe it's a very, like, a skeleton crew in your department or where you work, right? And you have that emotion, that frustration telling you, hey, flashing neon sign, there's something that I'm not happy with here, but you maybe keep ignoring it because you're like, well, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to be a pain in the manager's butt. But what this is saying is lean into that more. Lean into taking actions on your feelings a bit more. Maybe express a little bit like, hey, I'm frustrated about this thing. Don't threaten to quit, maybe necessarily, unless it's so terrible there that you're like, oh, man, I just got to leave this job behind and then go job hunting a bit, right? Yeah, because the reason they're telling you this, getting back to the very first thing where I said it's kind of a heads up reading, is because if these things do not change, it will lead you to some hardship here with that Five of Pentacles as the outcome. Like I said, that's the card of poverty, hardship. Maybe the establishment failing you is another interpretation of the Five of Pentacles upright. And so, like, that could manifest either in the way of, I'm not saying you're going to like lose your job poverty, but, it might manifest in the way of, like, say you don't look at that new opening in another department. And then that leads you to, a poverty of sorts because it pays better than where you are right now, but you never took that chance in the future, let's say, potentially, or it's a job that's more fitting with what you like to do. And so it fixes a lot of these reversals because it allows you more creativity. It allows you more control over, the choices you can make in business or in your department here with that Page of Pentacles reversed. You have more control over the things that might make you frustrated, perhaps. And then same thing too, maybe it's something that would make you more confident here, getting that promotion or getting that other job in that other department, just as going on with that example with the King of Wands reversed, meaning like a lack of confidence. Okay. That's what they're saying. Just summarize everything so far, pile number ones. The road you're on right now, particularly for most of you, I think it's in your business, career, finances, your job, whatever it is you do for a living. The universe wants to give you a bit of a heads up that if you continue on the path you're on right now and don't fix these particular things, it might lead to less of a desirable outcome in terms of hardship and finances than if you make that happy change in business, right? With the Lenormand, like it says. If you would make that change, you'll have more success. You'll be a little bit less stressed. You'll be a little bit more, maybe even financially, you might have a bit of a financial increase if you do take that risk and are willing to make some changes, okay? And that's why, your spirit team, the universe, wants to tell you this, because they want the best outcome for you. They don't want you to have to go through that Five of Pentacles pile number ones. Like, nobody wants to go through the Five of Pentacles time. It's not fun, and it's not to scare you. Like I said, I didn't want to call it like a warning reading, but it's just a little bit of a flashing neon sign as you're driving down this path or this road. Hey, wait a minute. There's somewhere maybe where if you made some tweaks, some changes, you could find a road that's a little bit less bumpy and a little bit better. Using the car metaphor, it might be a road that, maybe all the potholes are filled in it, so it's not so much wear and tear on your tires. And, getting back to the self-care message, right? The car being the metaphor for your body. Things like that. And remember is an interesting card here. Remember. I'm going to just take a quick little drink. Sorry, my voice is a bit scratchy this week, so I'm going to look at that for a second. But remember, what they're telling me for you pile number ones is the remember is something about. Okay, so the sentence I'm hearing is, remember why you got into this place in the first place. Remember why you came to this job or this career or business in the first place. There's some value in remembering what your original intention was or what your original picture of what you thought this would be was, okay? Because I almost wonder if maybe where you are right now doesn't exactly match very well with what you expected it would be. That happens a lot in life. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a job that was 100% like I expected, right? But there's some value in remembering that, and maybe that will kind of spur some of this change into thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe this place I'm in right now doesn't allow me to explore my options, doesn't allow me to feel confident, and doesn't allow me to express my emotions or frustrations, things like that. Doesn't allow you to express your creativity with that Empress reversed. And then you'll be like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Because it's almost like the metaphor of like the frog, what do they call it? The frog boiling in the pot. Over time, like it heats up just so much slowly so that the frog doesn't even realize that he's boiling. That's kind of the imagery I'm seeing with you, pile number ones, is that things have been kind of heating up a bit in a bad way. And it's almost like you're not realizing it. And so the universe, your spirit team is like, well, hey, wait a minute. Like there's some things here that aren't quite right. Maybe a part of what's spurring that is a bit of, I don't want to rock the boat. Maybe it's just you've been ignoring your emotions a little bit. Maybe that's where that Knight of Cups is coming from reversed, is you're not taking action on the feelings. You're maybe kind of just stuffing them deep down because you're like, well, I need this job. I need food on the table. And yes, those are very important things. Of course, you have to look out for yourself in terms of your material security pile number ones, but the universe, spirit is warning you. Well, I use the scary word warning. It's giving you a heads up. Well, I already said it, but you get the point. It's giving you a heads up that if you continue on your path without any change, it could bring you to some sort of hardship in terms of, it could be mental stress. Maybe that's why be gentle with yourself and the perfectionism thing came up, right? It could be, like I said, maybe you won't make as much money being where you are as where if you took a risk to go somewhere else, you'd be happier there, both in finances and mental stress, things like that, and your emotions. Just, if you take anything away from this reading pile number ones today, from today's mystery topic reading, anything, it's at least consider some changes regarding your job, your career, or whatever it is you're doing to like make your money, or like if you have like a business. At least entertain the idea of changing something, okay? And the other part of this reading, too, with the Lantern Oracle, I'll read it one more time. I know I already read it twice, but it says, you have all of the inner resources you need to cross whatever bridges arise on your path. If there's any part of making these changes where you're hesitating because of fear, this card is telling me, as a message from your spirit team, the universe, to you, that you will weather the change just fine. You have the skills you need to go for that job opening, if that applies to you. You have the skills to look for another job and get hired, if that applies to you. You know, you have, maybe it's a promotion. Don't doubt yourself, pile number ones. Don't fear change because of a lack of self-esteem. Don't fear change because you think, well, I mean, it's that old saying of, you know, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. This is the opposite for you. They're saying go for the two in the bush instead of just holding what you have here in your hand, because there's more for you out there that they want to encourage you towards, you know. And what's the worst that could happen? You know, say, you know, you apply and interview for another opening in a different department, or maybe even in your same department, and it doesn't work out. You still have that bird in the hand. Same thing where, say, maybe you do some job hunting kind of low key, you know, not telling anyone at your current job, and you get rejected from one particular position that you apply for at a different company. No one needs to know. So really, what is the risk? The only risk you have, what Spirit is telling you here, is not taking the chance to leap and fly. Okay? The only risk you have is staying in a place of hardship if you don't entertain the idea of change. And that's what they wanted to tell you today, pile number ones. Let me just look over everything and make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, and remember that perfectionism. Okay, let go of the idea of perfectionism, because they're saying you're being too hard on yourself in that area because of that perfectionism. Also look into solar chakra meditation, solar chakra work, especially with that King of Wands reversed. A little bit more confidence. Work on some confidence-related things. Yeah. You know, if you're not familiar with chakra work, I would just look up the solar plexus chakra. You know, sometimes there's yoga poses you can do to encourage that if you're into yoga. Sometimes there's meditations, you know, sometimes there's visualizations. Whatever works for you, look into the solar plexus is what I'll tell you. Okay. Yes, so I will leave you with that, my lovely pile number ones. As always, if that reading was helpful for you, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. That helps out the channel, which helps me provide more readings for you and everyone else who views Lone Pine Tarot, of course. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, my lovely pile number ones. Remember, entertain change is your theme for today. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Bye, pile number ones. Hello there, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your Pick a Card mystery reading for today. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Fire of Water State Change. It is the card that basically represents the different phases of matter. So, you know, when heat hits water, it becomes steam, right? When it boils. It's about a card of being willing to be flexible and shift your energy. So we'll put that one up here, as we always kind of put your pile leader near the pine cones. Today we're working with 2 extra decks. We're working with tarot, of course, because tarot reading, right? We also have Lenormand today. So let's draw those right now. We'll shuffle on screen for you, pile number twos. There we go. I was having trouble shuffling this particular deck with pile number 1, but apparently it's going really well for your deck today. Or your pile, I should say. Okay, so, Spirit, Universe, for pile number 2 is for their highest best good. Could you give me around 5 cards or so that explain more about what it is you want to talk to them about today? Thank you. As a mystery reading. Oh boy, well that one for sure was just ready to come out here. And then, yeah, 2. Number 3. And let's see here. I think that one back there, 5. And same thing with Lenormand. Get our ducks in a row, nice and neat. So Spirit, same thing with Lenormand. in a more tangible way. Can you explain with about 3 cards what's going on? What is it you want to talk to them about? Thank you. Let's see, 1, 2, and that one right there, number 3. Let's reveal your cards, pile number 2s. So, first from the Oracle decks today, you received from Nature's Whispers, we have Fresh Approach, number 21. Actually, it's kind of similar to your pile leader. It's about being, flexible, willing to change your phase of matter, so to speak, right? Approaching things in a fresh, new way. Interesting. We're actually going to put that one down here to the left. Make some room for everything. And then from the Dream Ritual Oracle, you received Freedom. We have a hot air balloon. Being free. You're giving me pile number 1 vibes so far, but we'll see what else comes out. Maybe if you were also drawn to pile number 1, that might be an indication to view that one as well. But then from the Lantern Oracle, you received Strength of Vulnerability, number 4. True power lies at the root of perceived weakness. Being strong in our vulnerability, being strong in what we think is a weakness. Beautiful. I don't get that card in this Oracle deck very often. I think it might be the first time it's popped up on a reading. So, beautiful. Then from Lenormand, we have, let's see, the stars, the flowers, and the garden. Let's see. So, reading that in a sentence. The goal of a gift from a group or community. Hopes of a gift from a community. Interesting. We'll see what else pops out with your tarot cards. Something to do with a group of people or a community, and then gifts, beauty in general, and hopes or goals in that area. I don't know if I've ever had that combination before either. Interesting. So from your tarot cards, we have the Ace of Swords, a new thought, a new idea. Or Ace of Blades as it's known in this deck. It's one of those decks where they changed every suit. We have the Sun. Beautiful. The Sun is about happiness and joy and clarity. With, looks like Acadia National Park. Gorgeous. The Sun. Number 3, we have another major arcana. Temperance, balance, and moderation with Zion National Park. Number 4, we have, okay, look, another major arcana. Justice, Big Bend National Park. These are all American national parks. Let's see. And then last but not least, we have the Two of Cups reversed. Two of Cups reversed is either about disharmony in relationships or a lack of unity. Kind of, I guess that means kind of the same thing, but I'm just kind of reiterating there, but disharmony in relationships. So I'm just going to take a short pause here, pile number 2s, to look over everything and take a drink for my voice. And then we will start your message. Beautiful. Lots of major arcana. I will say, I always say this in my reading, so forgive me if you've already seen a reading and you've heard this before, but when you have a majority major arcana in a reading, I tend to see that as this is related to a major life lesson for your soul path in this life, pile number 2s, okay? So there's a major thing that your spirit guides, the universe wants to talk to you about. But let's see. I'm going to look over and make sure I know, put together the cohesive message while I take a drink here. Let's see. A new idea. Clarity, happiness, moderation, justice, and disharmony in relationships. Oh. Okay, it finally clicked. Sorry, pile number 2, there's a bit of a wait there, but I think what the universe wants to talk to you about today is there's some sort of relationship in your life right now where you feel what's the best way to put it? You are not sure that you're going at it the right way, or you've been having some struggles in this relationship, and you're wondering why it's not working out the way that you expected it to. Does that kind of make sense, pile number 2s? I say that because you have, it might even not just be a relationship with one person. It could also be a group of people, but anyways, I say that because you have the stars here with the flowers, with the garden or the community in Lenormand here. So basically, translating that as a sentence, it's hopes or dreams of a gift or beauty from a group or a community. Or sometimes I read that as like, a group as in like 2 different people if it's just a relationship one-on-one between you and someone else, right? There's something you've been hoping for. There's something you want, I think, from this person or from this group of people, this community. And you're like, I don't know. Especially with that 2 of Cups at the end here reversed, being disharmony. It's like, there's something not clicking right between you. I don't know if it's like you are currently dating someone new and you're kind of confused as to like how to go forward with this person. Maybe you really, really like them, hence the stars being like, I have hopes and dreams in this area, right? But you're like, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I'm like maybe the person you're dating is like not responding in the way you expected, or it could be even established relationship too. Maybe in an established relationship you've had platonic or romantic. It could be something came up and you're like, oh, I really had hopes that, me and this other person were, on the right track, but it seems like something has gotten off track recently, things like that. Or it could even be like a big group or community as a whole. You had a hope for your community, but something's just not right. And if I were to summarize the advice to you from the universe, pile number 2 is consider a different approach. Not only because you have Fire of Water, State Change, which was the card you picked your pile with, right? You also have Fresh Approach literally down here from the Nature's Whispers Oracle, and that's a really good oracle for advice. There's something you need to do that's different to achieve what it is you're looking for in this area, okay? And piece of advice number 1, because I know the first thing you're going to ask is, well, what do I need to change? You're like, well, what the heck do I do? Because you probably, if this has been bothering you, you've already kind of maybe even staying awake at night about it. Like, you're just sitting there with your eyes wide, like, well, what the heck do I do? Like, I thought this was going great, but it's not going the direction I thought. Number 1, pile number 2s. Do not be afraid to be vulnerable. That is from the Lantern Oracle. Also, a really great advice oracle deck. I'll just read it again. It says, true power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. There's something maybe you feel a bit insecure about that you're afraid to show this other person or this group of people. And that might have caused... I don't want to say that they thought that you were insincere in some area or that they thought that you were not being totally honest, but maybe that's why you haven't seen the result that you're looking for, because they're looking for that vulnerability to see like a genuineness in you. That's intuitively what I'm being told to tell you. So be vulnerable. Be willing to be more vulnerable with this person or this group of people, pile number 2. So that's piece of advice number 1 of what to change, okay? And then freedom is interesting. Freedom is, let's see, I think that kind of ties into the vulnerability is what I'm being told. It's like being willing to just let loose more. I feel like maybe you're trying to control the outcome a little bit too much because you want this so badly, and that's very understandable, pile number 2s, especially if you're really, especially if this is like romantic and you really like this person. No one can blame you for being like, oh, I really hope this turns out. I want to control the outcome. I think as humans, we all kind of, especially when we're very enamored with somebody, we tend to, we're very eager to know that the outcome will be what we want, right? We want to be with that person, okay? Say it is romantic, or even if it's just a friendship-related thing, you're like, oh, I really click with this person, I really hope it works out, but things are not going very well. Let loose a little bit. That's another piece of advice. Be vulnerable, let loose a little bit. Do not be afraid, just to kind of go with the flow a little bit more. Don't worry so much about the outcome of things. And, it's easier said than done, but I think by letting loose a little bit and leaning into that vulnerability more, that will help align things in just the right way to make it more conducive to this relationship or this tie you have to this community work out a little bit better. Okay? Let go of control. Get a little bit more loose. Be a little bit more vulnerable and honest. Okay, that's your advice so far. We haven't even touched on your tarot cards yet, but at least from your oracle cards. Be willing to try a new approach. Let loose. Vulnerability. Okay. Tarot cards, though. So, we have the Ace of Swords, let's see, and like I said, lots of major arcana. I think maybe, because this is major arcana majority reading, like I said, life lesson type thing. Maybe you've struggled with this a lot before in relationships. Maybe that's why prior relationships haven't worked out. Maybe it has been some issues of letting loose and being vulnerable and, letting your walls down a little bit more and or letting go of the control of outcomes, right? So that might be why it's popped up again this time, because oftentimes with our life lessons, at least in my experience, we tend to experience repeated things or opportunities so that we can express what we've learned from mistakes in the past, okay? So this situation is another invitation to prove, hey, I learned from prior relationships or connections with groups of people, however it's manifested for you. It could be some of you as a relationship, some of you as a group of people. Everyone's going to be a bit different in a general reading, but it's an invitation to say, hey, I've learned, I've changed. I've overcome this life lesson or this struggle, okay? Just want a little bit of a side there, but yeah, so Ace of Swords is a new idea, happiness and joy. I mean, especially with Temperance being the middle card here, pile number 2s, that's the card of moderation and balance. It's almost like, literally, it's almost like fire of water. It's two opposites coming together, like fire and water, literally, to make something harmonious in the middle. And so I want to say steam, but especially for those of you that this is romantic, that sounds kind of corny because if I say steamy, but anyways, okay. It'll make it steamy. There you go. For all those of you, this is romantic. You're probably just giggling at home right now, but literally though, like Temperance is moderation. I think that's where it's kind of advising you to not go to that extreme of wanting the control over the outcome or having walls up. Being a bit more balanced, a little bit more relaxed, I think, between, not swaying too far to the side of acting like you don't care at all, but then also not swinging so far to the side of I don't want to say desperation, but you know what I mean? Kind of like those two dichotomies, those opposites, blending them together. Okay. Moderation. Then we also have, we have justice. And then, the sun. The sun, too, kind of tells me is just to, the way I would interpret it in this particular reading is to really just look at, literally it's a couple right here, or like a group of people enjoying watching, the sunset or could be dawn over the bay, right? Just enjoy your time with this person or group of people, pile number 2. Just enjoy your time. It doesn't have to be so much about the outcome. It can be just about happiness. Finding happiness in the moment, being mindful of the moment right now, rather than constantly asking yourself while you're with this person or with these people, where is this going? Where is this going? Where is this going? Because I see that with, the star, because literally the star in Lenormand, we have someone who's navigating. He's so focused on, it's technically Polaris because it's right next to the Big Dipper, right? The end tail of the Little Dipper. So focused on the North Star that he's not looking at anything else. He's literally just like, I gotta follow that one star. That's the only thing on my mind. And so let go of the navigational tools. Let go of Polaris and the North Star. Just focus on enjoying the moment, okay? So let's say if this is romantic for you, pile number 2s, if you go on a date with somebody, don't think about, does this person love me? Is this going to be serious or long-term? Is this, because I think that sometimes can cause anxiety in pretty much everybody, not just you, pile number 2s, and sometimes that can affect our ability to be vulnerable. That can affect our ability just to kind of let loose and have fun. And I think, part of that too is the best of your personality will shine out if you do just kind of let go of following that North Star, so to speak, that this is the outcome I want, and just making a beeline for it. Be a little bit laid back. Be willing to, take a side trip here, Be willing to just enjoy the journey and not so much the destination. That's probably a really good way to summarize it, pile number 2s. And then the Ace of Swords is about like a new idea. So this is something I don't think, what that's kind of telling me is that this is something that you haven't maybe tried yet, because it is like a new idea. It's a new thought pretty much. Yeah. New thought, new idea, new way of trying this for you. So it might be a little bit uncomfortable at first because you're so used to kind of being a goal-oriented person, which actually is a great thing, pile number 2s. It's great to be goal-oriented, right? Especially as great at work or great with your personal ambitions, but sometimes with love and friendship, depending on how that applies to you with this particular situation. Being goal-driven is not as organic and romantic as it is just to kind of let go a bit and enjoy the time that you have with this person or these people. Okay, so choose balance, choose enjoying yourself and the time you spend with these people, this person. And then 2, justice is interesting. Justice is about fairness and kind of what it says on the tin. It's also a card of balance as well, because, we think of justice being like the balance scales. Almost kind of Libra vibes, right? I think that's just a really strong emphasis on balance being in 2 of your cards here. Moderation. And I think, the 2 of Cups reversed being at the end here, I usually read that as the outcome card. So what the universe or your spirit team is kind of saying is if you continue on this path of focusing so much on, not being vulnerable, focused on one set goal, focused on kind of keeping your walls up and not trying a new approach, that might be what occurs should you not divert your path, is the disharmony in relationship, which sometimes can mean splitting apart with a relationship or with a group of people. That's what the 2 of Cups reversed means sometimes. So I'm not saying that that's set in stone, pile number 2s, and I think that's why the universe, your spirit team, is telling you this right now, because they want to give you this advice to help you avoid that 2 of Cups reversed outcome, okay? So that's not set in stone. You have a chance to change it. And that's the beautiful thing of this reading, is what they're telling you is be willing to change, be willing to try a fresh approach, a new idea with the Ace of Swords, right? Let loose a bit, okay? A little bit more moderation. Do not be afraid of vulnerability. I'll see if there's anything else here that I missed. I just want to make sure I have every message here. And I can almost read this Lenormand as 2 different interpretations, because number 1 is like it's the focus of a goal on the gift of a community or with another person here. But it almost is kind of telling you like the goal should be the gift of this group or this person. And that's that hearkening back to that message of just enjoying your time together. Enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Smell the roses along the way. I mean, literally a flower card, right? Roses. I even have flowers in your vulnerability card, too. Are there flowers in every card? Nature's Whispers I can't count because there's flower. I mean, that's a nature deck, so, but... yeah, something with flowers. Beautiful. Yes, so, should you just consider a fresh approach, pile number 2s, I think you can avoid that 2 of Cups reversed here. And that's, like I said, why the universe is telling you this right now. So, be willing to be flexible. Be willing to shift your state of matter, quote unquote, like your pile leader says. State change is what it says. Let down the walls. Just enjoy. Okay, be in the moment. So that is what I will leave you with today, my lovely pile number 2s. As always, if that reading resonated, if it helped you, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. That just helps the channel out, which helps me provide more readings for you and everyone else who views these pick a card readings. Thank you if you choose to do so. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number 2s. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card mystery topic reading for today. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Earth of Fire Unfolding Path. We have, it looks like a campfire kind of leading the path forward. This card is a lot about following our passions, following what sparks happiness and joy, and, inspiration in us to guide our steps. So basically it's the combination of the power of fire being the creativity element or the inspiration element with the material mundanity of earth. So basically, to summarize that without all the spiritual gobbledygook, following your passions. Okay, so we'll put your pile leader over here next to the pine cone as always. We have oracle cards I already drew, but we're also using 2 different decks today. Tarot, of course, number 1, and then also Lenormand. So let's draw those right now, pile number 3s. Letting inspiration guide you. Beautiful. So spirit guides, spirit team, ancestors, universe for pile number 3s. Could you give me, for their highest best good, 5 cards explaining more about what this mystery topic is for them? What do you want to tell them? What do you want them to know? There we go. 2, 3. That one's coming out with it. 4. That one right there, 5. Beautiful. And then same thing for Lenormand. So about 3 different cards, please. There we go. Tangibly, can you tell me what's going on that you want to talk to them about? Thank you. 3 cards. Okay, well, we got one already. That for sure is the owls, or the birds, as it's known in most Lenormand decks. We also have number 2. And number 3. Well, I'll take both. 3 and 4. I usually don't read 4-card Lenormand readings, but today we will for you, pile number 3s. Let's reveal your cards. First up with your oracle decks. From the Nature's Whispers, you received number 4, Pause. Interesting, we pulled just now 4 Lenormand cards, which is more than normal. And you got the number 4 here. We'll see if we have any 4 numerology here in the rest of your reading. Pause. I'm going to put that right over here. There we go. A little bit more up there. Perfect. From the Dream Ritual Oracle today, you received Balance. We have a clock. Looks like it reads 10:25. Interesting. Maybe the time 10:25 has some meaning to you. 10:25. Balance. Then from the Lantern Oracle today, you received number 11. Okay. Metamorphosis. Power and strength lie within our surrender to change. A lot of change messages in all the piles today. I don't know if if I had to basically say a theme for everyone today, it'd be change. Metamorphosis is literally, well, that's the one you got, but interesting. A bit of a collective theme there, change. Good time of year for change, I suppose. It is coming, to autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere. It is the time of change. So from the Lenormand, you got, 4 cards as we saw. So let's unveil those. First up, we have the clouds, we have the ship, we have the letter or the document, and then we have the owls or the birds. Let's see, any numerology here? No other 4s or 11s. Okay. I don't see any. Well, you do have 4 here in your balance card. Interesting. Look out for the number 4, pile number 3s, okay? Because we also have 4 from the Lenormand. Okay, so let's see. If I read this in a sentence, that would be... a confusing journey to document communication. A confusing journey to document communication. Very interesting. We'll see what your tarot cards say before I throw any conclusions out. That's a very fascinating Lenormand reading. A confusing journey to document communication. Fascinating. Okay. Number 1, we have the Page of Wands reversed, needing to explore our passions a bit more. We'll look at that. Look at what your pile leader was. Like I said, follow your passion, your inspiration. Yeah, that's literally what the Page of Wands reversed is about. Oh, pile 3s. You need to follow your passions more. Okay, let's see. Number 2, we have the Hanged Man from, let's see, what's this? Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Seeing things from a different perspective. Sometimes it can mean sacrifice as well. Remember, I was just talking about autumn as the time or the season of change. We have an autumnal scene here. Lots of change. Wheel of Fortune reversed can sometimes mean maybe you've gone through a recent spat of bad luck, bad turn of fate, bad karma. We also have, this is Yellowstone National Park. Bad luck. Number 4, we have Temperance. Temperance is about moderation and balance from Zion National Park. Beautiful. Interesting. You also have a majority major arcana reading. I'll talk about what that means in a second. My longtime viewers will laugh because they already know what I'm going to say. And then we have the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups follows her heart. The Queen of Cups is not afraid of her emotions and exploring them internally. She masters the heart. Okay, so pile number 3 is I'm going to take just a short second break here to take a drink and look over your cards, but I'm pretty sure I already know what's going on here. And that Lenormand reading is very mysterious. Interesting. 1 second. Well, first off, I will tell you, like I was saying, you have a majority major arcana reading. You have the Hangman, Wheel of Fortune, and Temperance. And my longtime viewers will probably repeat after me. When I see a reading with majority major arcana, pile number 2 was like this today as well, that usually means that a life lesson, major life lesson, is involved here for review pile number 3. So this is something that was a crossroads you were meant to come across in your life. It's obviously related to a lesson your soul is meant to learn in this particular incarnation on Earth, and at least in my beliefs. And so this is something that maybe I tend to see it manifest as something that's maybe been a struggle for a long while in your life, because I see life lessons tending to pop up multiple times, and this is just the most recent incarnation of it having crossed your path, this particular issue. Okay. And so probably your next question is like, okay, so what is this life lesson? What's going on? And pile number 3 is if I had to summarize your reading in one sentence, it's all about needing to follow your heart more. And you might think, oh, that's cheesy, follow your heart, right? But literally, I mean, you have Earth of Fire, which, like I said, when we first pulled it out or talked about it at the beginning of your reading, that's about following your fire, following your passion, following the direction in which your creativity, especially with that Page of Wands reversed, is telling you follow your creativity, explore your creativity more. There's something to be gained here by allowing yourself to be creative and allowing yourself to follow your passions, pile number 3. I feel like currently in your life right now, you're not indulging in that enough. And that's part of what they want to talk to you about is, you know, I don't know if you work yourself too hard. I feel like that's maybe why pause and balance especially came up, because pause is like, okay, wait a minute, you know, click on the brakes a bit or put the foot on the brake a bit here. Okay. Pause. Maybe you're going a little bit too fast in life right now. Maybe things have been really stressful, okay? Especially with balance too, and, you know, a clock being represented on that particular card. Maybe you don't have enough work-life balance or balance between the things that you want to do and the things you don't want to do, pile number 3, okay? And that's a very, very common problem in modern society. A lot of us have that issue, so you're not alone, of maybe working a little bit too hard. You know, all work and no play makes Jane a dull girl or John a dull boy, pile number 3. And that's kind of what your reading is saying here is you need a little bit more balance. The Temperance card here, moderation and balance in your life, especially surrounding the idea of following your passions more. And I want to say it's almost too much of a nose to the grindstone mindset, which is helpful. It's good to be ambitious. It's good to work hard. It's good to be, you know, an upstanding employee if that, you know, if you do work for someone else or if you do like your own self-employed thing, it's good to work hard and follow those things. But you need to balance it with rest, especially that Hangman, especially. Look at this guy. I said especially twice, excuse me, I repeat myself sometimes. But like this Hangman right here, literally, what is he doing? He's sitting there and he's resting in a hammock, right? He's enjoying himself. He's leisurely reading a book. And so this life lesson is around realizing that you're not just a robot here to grind out for money, you know, to grind your soul and turn, you know, it's kind of, I was going to say turn your blood to dust. That's a bit morbid, but you get the point, pile number 3. So you're not here just to grind yourself into dust. You're here to enjoy life, okay? And maybe that's why if you've been finding a lot of unhappiness recently, especially with the Wheel of Fortune reversed being the core card, that's the card of bad luck or having a bad turn of fate. It almost tells me that to turn that around, the unhappiness in your life right now, that's what you need to follow, or you're being encouraged to follow, of course. You have free will. You can say no. But that's just what the universe, your spirit team is telling you here. Follow balance more. That's especially emphasized with both temperance and balance. Literally it means the same thing. You got 2 cards that mean the same thing. Balance. Following your heart more. Exploring your passions more with Earth of Fire and the Page of Wands reversed, okay? And be willing to look at life almost in a different way with the Hanged Man. Also, the Hanged Man, like I said, can sometimes represent sacrifice. That's the thing, is whenever we look at the difference or the balance between working too hard and then playing a little bit more, leisure time versus working time, right? We don't really realize how much we give up when something is our base state of living. If you've lived your entire life working very, very, very hard and overtime all the time, focusing so much on money, sometimes you just don't even know what life is like from a leisurely perspective of enjoying life more, indulging in your creativity and what your heart is telling you to do or what your heart wants to do, okay? And that can be a hard transition to make. I'm not saying it's easy, pile number 3s, but you're being encouraged to go in that direction because you need to pause a little bit more. Do creative hobbies, number 2, okay? And find more balance in your life. There's a little bit too much of one thing and not enough of the other. And being willing to change with metamorphosis. Power and strength lie within our surrender to change. You know, it might even be, I'm getting a little bit of a message of maybe even, I don't know if you get like anxiety or panic attacks or, I know sometimes when people work really hard, they can even get to the point of like, they're called arrhythmias, I think, basically like an irregular heart rhythm, like they get heart palpitations is what it was called, I think, technically. You know, if you've been finding maybe some, too, it can even affect your sleep. There's something about health here, too, that I'm hearing for you, pile number 3s, because it's another reason you're being asked to pause is because there's something to do, you know, especially with Earth of Fire, because, yeah, that card means following your passion. Yep, we get that. But we also think of fire as devouring earth, and what that would mean in a cartomancy sense here, in a tarot sense, I guess I should say, is it's almost like fire, you know, working so hard, burning up the earth, meaning your body or the material things around you. You're overstressing yourself. You're burning yourself out. Literally, that's probably what I should have just said. You're burning yourself out, pile number 3s. Okay. You need to take more time for yourself. You need to pause. Yes. I mean, of course, you have free will. You can say no. But you're being heavily encouraged for the sake of your health and for the sake of honoring your heart and your passions and your creativity to go in that direction. Now, what's interesting is this Lenormand reading. Like I said before, this is a very mysterious reading. If I were to read it in a sentence, it says, yeah, confusing journey to document communication. You know, that almost tells me if maybe, like, I don't know if you work a job where it's really hard to document the time that you actually take to do, a particular job or a particular task at your job. But it's like I think you've been trying to document it. Or, like, maybe it's something that someone else has been saying to you. Like, maybe there's some area where they're warning you or giving you a heads up about needing to really clearly document things that are said or things that are, like, confusing. You know, I almost want to do another reading on that because I want to make sure that seems like, I'm going to make sure. I'm going to do another reading on that, pile number 3s for you. You're getting, you're special today. You're getting an extra Lenormand reading. So, a confusing journey to document communication. Universe spirit guides for pile number 3s. Can you give me a little bit more clarity on what that means, please? because I just want to make sure that they have the tools they need to address that. A confusing journey to document communication. 3 cards or so, please, or maybe 4 again. What does that mean in a tangible way that pile number 3 will understand? Because that seems important to me. So something with a man. Okay. The lily. Interesting. Purity sometimes can mean passion. And the woman. Weird. Okay, so let's see. How would I read that? A man's passion for a woman. Or it could also mean, if we think about it in terms of energies, right? Masculine energy, overpowering. I think that might be a little bit of a hint that you're leaning too much into masculine energy and you need to lean more into feminine energy, pile number 3 is. And so that kind of just reflects that same idea of being willing to indulge more in a creative feminine energy mindset rather than like a logical, material world type. I'm not saying materialistic, but you know what I mean? Like literally this is, this particular Lenormand deck has 2 variations of each gender, right? And this is particularly like the working man, and then this is like the lady. So this is like the higher class woman in this particular deck. It's almost like there's some aspect of like your working mentality, the way you express that masculine energy, that's like the passion of that is overriding like the feminine energy of creativity, which once again just harkens back to the fire. But how does that connect to, let's see, a confusing journey to document communication? It could also mean that maybe there's a masculine figure involved that is the one maybe that could be pressuring you into working too hard. It could be like a masculine energy, like manager, okay, or a boss of yours, or a client, if maybe that's kind of how your working relationship works with who is your boss technically, right? Something in that area, pile number 3 is. Yeah, something in that area. Maybe I should ask a more specific question. Something that you need to document in that area too. So if I were to say, like, to summarize the Lenormand readings, document things that a masculine energy that is involved, that is passionate about what is going on or the situation at hand. Like I'm saying, I think for a lot of you, this might be a manager or a boss. Could apply in different ways. Document what they say if this is like a boss for you. Okay. Document what they say. I keep getting told CYA, which you know what that means. I won't say it on YouTube, but CYA. Yeah, they're warning you of that too. It could also mean as well, if you're in a relationship between, a masculine and a feminine energy, like whether you're the masculine or you're the feminine, because sometimes the lily can mean sexuality as well. Maybe like if you're in a romantic relationship, working too hard is kind of overridden and dented a little bit of your relationship or the passion between you and your partner, because maybe you're so overworked and stressed out that it's kind of hampering a bit of, the passion. You know what that means. I won't explain. But, when you're worked and you're stressed out, you're not really in the mood for passionate things, right? Pile number 3s. And so if that applies to you, that's maybe another reason you're being asked to pause a bit more, okay? But in general, even for those of you where this isn't like a romantic interpretation, there's something about a man's passion affecting a woman, be it a manager being, a little bit too passionate about getting work done that he makes you work overtime, and then you needing to document making sure you get paid for that overtime. That's one way that this could manifest tangibly, things like that. Yeah. So just keep those things in mind. Same thing too if you're in a relationship and you've been having some issues in the passion department, right? That might be why, is because you're just so stressed that you're not really in the mood, okay? I usually don't touch on romance and, topics like that on this channel, but that is a part of life, and when it does come up, I do mention it, especially with the lily meaning sexuality, right, and passion. So, yes, keep that in mind as well, pile number 3s. Maybe that's what would help reignite some passion was taking a little bit more time for yourself, not working so hard, having a balance in life, a balance between work, relationship, family, time for yourself, things like that. Moderation with that temperance card, okay? So that is what I will leave you with today, my lovely pile number 3s. If that reading resonated and helped you, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. That just helps the channel out, which helps me provide more readings for you and everyone else who views my readings as well. And thank you so much if you do choose to do so, any of those things, like, comment, or subscribe. And as always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number 3s. And remember, take more time for yourself. Be willing to pause a bit more. Okay? Stop the clock, literally. Okay, anyways, see ya. Bye, pile 3s.